Ah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another scene set in the Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire the Requiem, a requiem for London. Tonight, we scene once again back within the Royal Albert Hall, set within the domain of the Carthians, the revolutionaries, the movement. And once more, we settle our scene on one of several Ordo. Mr. Julian T. Goodman. Who is here to socialize, connect with the rest of the city's kindred, and speak with his sire, who has chosen Elysium as their prime, as the prime location to have a polite word.
Ye, after the commotion of earlier events, will take the time to figure out, find the tracks of the sire, and arrive to meet her. He looks more or less, I guess, disconcerted right now. The talks of monstrosities being all around us is becoming a bigger realization to him.
There's a lot of people here, a lot of Ordo actually. You see a couple that pique your interest. There's a oh, if I can find the bastard. I cannot find the bastard. Oh, there he goes. There is Arend van der Molen. He is a member of the Order of Mysteries. He is of Clan Deva. You see the Gangrel Karen with the axe. You see the one who briefly mentored you and came to test you to see if you would be potential for the axe. Mr. Lebedev. Sorry, not Lebedev, Lanistav. And you, of course, you see the one, the only, the... Oh. Didn't want to work. The one, the only, the amazing Miss Meadowthatcher of a Dying Light. You also see Cone Fletching and his sire, the Kogan. So there is no shortage of Ordo here. They appear to all be speaking of each other rather politely, with the exception of Meadow, who is very much playing the role of a harpy, much to the chagrin of the order, those of the Order of the Mysteries, who are having to sort of clean up after the political detritus she leaves behind. smooth over all those bruised egos and soured moods. But she doesn't seem to care all that much. And then, of course, there is your sire, one of those beleaguered kindred with pale blonde, bushy hair. Her black jumper and dark pencil skirt. She carries with her trademark notebook and has those stylish looking shades on. You are aware that also one of the reasons your sire wears these shades is because she suffers from a unique bane that causes her to manifest miscolored eyes, deep red, unpleasant to look at, a mild masquerade breach if anybody were to look at them and realize them for what they were.
He will walk towards her and put out his hand to shake her hand.
Ah, Mr. Goodman. How are you on this fine Elysium? I hope my child has been getting along well.
Things have been going fine for now.
I hear you've been playing house.
That depends. What exactly have you heard?
I've heard you've been having some difficulties with some local spirit. Crone spoke about it with me earlier. Heard you and he got roughed up quite badly, having to defend a frenzied doctor.
That is true. Well, this possession doesn't seem to be minor.
No, I can imagine that from the injuries that were described to me, it is in fact quite a severe possession. Quite the case. Haven't seen one of these in many decades.
Whatever exactly this thing is, I've been discussing further ways to deal with it. It's only going to get worse if we take as long as we have been.
Yes. I have been keeping an eye on the location as was requested from me by Mr. Fletching and his sire. It appears you have a slight bit of competition. I would perhaps urge you and your fellows to hasten your movements before the godly folk of the Sanctified resolve it for you.
You see Goodman grind his teeth. Yeah. That's it. We plan to deal with this ASAP.
I am sure you and your comrades will settle it in time. Although I do see fit to give you this warning, given that I would rather not lose a place of such value to our order to, well, I can think of many creative terms. I shall be polite. To the sanctified.
Yeah, they've been active of late. I'm sure due to their new associate.
I find their priesthood to be far more polite and amenable. Their services are intriguing to watch. There is value in their faith, given that it empowers them to commit to sorcerous acts. However, I do find their more militant casts to be an irritance at best, a threat at worst. Unwarranted threats at that. Perhaps if they were just a threat, I could understand the point of their being.
Beyond their sorcerer's power, having something to believe in gives you motivation and stability. That's what the church really wants, or any really religious faction, or even just faith based existence.
Well, there are the sanctified's beliefs are more based in reality than mortals, I can say that much for sure, given the origins of their texts that they so frequently reference. I have no reason to doubt that their progenitor did very much exist, and his child definitely so. However, I came to speak to on a more personal topic.
Yes, ma'am.
I have been hearing from Laurel that she intends to buy up a majority stake in the business.
It's a possibility I've been working on. Hopefully, a breakthrough. So we don't have to make such a deal.
I am disappointed that it has reached such a point, Julian. Laurel should be in no position to be claiming anything. And what your business provides to Vildo is far too valuable to lose to some jumped up mortal.
And he gets a little bit of a sour look on his face. Mortal or not, it is the daughter to your favorite ghoul.
And I had hoped you would stretch your wings, perhaps, and take on Laurel as your own. After all, while I am. And her eyes just kind of lean off to the side in a thoughtful fashion. Your father is very much retiring from the industry, which
Yes.
leaves these matters up to you, up to his heirs. And while I have no wish to take control of Laurel, she is not of the mindset I believe that would be suitable for our kind. The asset she possesses is of value to us.
There is another look, again, another sour look, just from the tone of her intentions against her, and he'll respond, "We should show her some respect just for what she is. Though I do agree, I don't think she should be in control. We shouldn't treat her like any other person. I do think a minor bias to her would be appreciated."
Why, Julian, I do have a minor bias to her. If I did not, I would have taken control of her already. I also have a minor bias towards you.
I'm working on it. It has been my goal not for this to be outside of my hands, and I believe Father would prefer it to be in my hands.
If you must not take control of Laurel, of which the decision I can very much understand, then perhaps consider other members of the board that she would seek to control, or just the board in its totality. That way, she may keep her hands clean and you will retain control. And you will possess the assets that you will need to perform your own unique research.
No, eh, that a game plan has been devised. They are not outside of my personal research. There are individuals that I'll be talking to discuss a possible benefit of their favor into me.
You have never been much of a people person, Julian. I do hope you know what you are doing. Not to say I do not trust you, of course. But it is not you making elevator pitches to shareholders is not what I imagine when I envision you.
My sister is mainly words and a keen eye for business, which I've always respected for. But in the end, a company is not derived purely by business and pretty words. Without proper product, nothing can get truly accomplished. And I believe my product will be more than enough, along with my budding negotiation skills, to prove that I should have the majority control of the company.
I hope you're all right. Miss Goodman is a very charismatic woman. A product may be of value, yes. But who markets it? Who sells it? Who convinces those around them that it is a good idea to invest in such a product? A company, like any organization, is made up of many moving parts. If she can control the narrative of what you create, then she will have turned your own creation against you.
That she could. But since I am aware that that's her strength, I can also aware what her weaknesses are.
And what are her weaknesses?
My sister is subtle, resilient but subtle. A more forceful hand will cause her to bend.
Hmm.
So if the people around her, let's just say, too concerned about other situations to cooperate with her, she will lose power in that. Love is good, but fear can be potent, especially in the short term.
I very much agree. Well, in this, I wish you luck. Of course, I would offer my aid, but I will not lie. This is very much a test I see myself placing upon you.
So I expect nothing less. So if I had to rely on you or father, it would prove me to be unfit.
Yes, it would be quite a shame, as both a member of the Defiant and a Gangrel, you must very much learn to stand on your own. But so far you have proven yourself capable, and I am quite proud. Have you given any thought to your advancement within the Order?
I've been hoping once we deal with this possession problem to officially accord myself with the axe. My
Hmm.
dream was that of the dying light, but I shouldn't lie to myself and not take advantage of what I am skilled at naturally. I've always been a person of violence, but so I should take that to my advantage.
An overt approach can lead to unexpected discoveries. The Sworn of the Axe are as legitimate as any other, including my own organization. And I believe you will fit in well. In fact, I believe it is quite a powerful niche given your unique position regarding this nest that you are currently dealing with. After all, there'll be members of the Covenant who will need to secure and inhabit it once the infestation has been dealt with.
Security is important, whether through physical means, monetarily, or socially.
And Karen will be busy elsewhere due to the multitude of tasks that have been thrust upon him as of late. The the actions of Mr. Irons, I believe, have drawn his attention from this appointed task, as well as various other irritances.
The thing that Orange unfortunately brought upon the city is going to be an issue, but if we don't take care of the possession now, it can just compound on our situation.
Yes,
And Irons is not a fool. Ignorant, but not a fool. I'm sure he
he
will recover.
is he is fresh. He will learn in time, and through like most of us, it will be through pain and loss, but he will learn. There is another matter.
Yes, ma'am.
A, hmm. She stops herself for a moment and thinks. She looks up. You can briefly see the red in her eyes. A more personal matter.
Do we need to speak in private?
Hmm. No. I merely wish for you to locate some individuals for me and bring them to me for an interview.
Do they need to be intact?
Yes. A An unfunctioning body would be of little use in this situation. I am looking for the information that they possess. There are matters of concern to me. I am. How to say? This city has a habit of keeping its inhabitants in the dark. Wouldn't you agree?
We have a maquette for a prince. To be expected.
We have met in many positions of power within the domain. I would wish to shed a light on certain matters, so that we may examine how to move forward. One cannot stumble around blindly and expect to discover anything of value. They'll not even know that which they have discovered.
These particular individuals enhanced or normal?
Potentially, I do not know the extent of their enhancement. They have been tampered with. I would urge you caution. But should you accomplish for me, I would reward you substantially. I do not turn to you to flout my power over you. I turn to you because in this matter, you are the one individual that I know I can trust. You have been loyal to me. I appreciate this.
You raised me. I owe you almost nearly everything.
And you very much repay that night after night. It is rare to find one with such a sense of obligation. Although the Invictus, the Unconquered, do claim to such things, I have found that if it is not written down, one always has a hand on their knife. But you are more earnest than that, and there is power in such honesty.
Julian will go into his pocket and bring out a phone and kind of slide it over to her. Said, "You can put what you need to put down in there."
She looks at it. While your sire is intelligent, she's a little bit tech illiterate. Takes her a little bit to get the phone to function. And she'll begin typing down who and what to find, when, where, places, locations, hangouts. It appears from what she puts down you may have to do a little bit of investigation. For some of the individuals you have photos, others you don't. Most of them you do. You have 3 individuals to look for. The rest I'll put you in a blue book. But none of them appear immediately important. When you apprehend such individuals, I would like for you to be present for the interview process. I think it will be a good learning experience for you, and your presence, I believe, will be helpful.
It'll be done.
As for any other matters, well, do you have anything else you wish to discuss with me? I've heard that I've been hearing gossip that there have been complaints levied regarding the presence of Carthians in Kingston. Was one of those complainants you, or should I be looking for the other kindred that have sought to create tension where it was unwarranted.
I am personally not too aware of the territory Carthian issue. Mr. Irons knows more about than I do. He's actually the one that told me what information I do know. If there's been any complaints, there was a report of probably some mass murdering a few months ago.
I was aware that the recently knighted Archon was involved in several disputes down there. Something I don't necessarily appreciate. But it was in resolving. It was within princely edict. It was earnestly committed to resolve a matter of court. She says quite slowly. She obviously finds it questionable as to how it was handled, but doesn't consider it. But outside of it being something of a slight upon her, she doesn't really seem to care too much. I hear she is close to a Dr. Morrow.
And again, a grinding of his teeth. I feel too intimate. I worry that she sings to him too much.
Yes, I may need to have a word with her. With her sire in the domain, she may require some readjustment. However, I believe she will find my proposals more eloquent and suitable than her sire's. He is quite a renowned individual, you know, a genius among our ranks, so I hear. At least the Kogan certainly seems to think so. The Twilight judges seem to look upon him favorably.
I will keep my head out for him then. You know I don't typically be in other people's business.
No, he is a very... He's not a man I think you would like. He's a very powerful man. And he has much to offer should you go looking. However, what he requires of those around him are substantial. He requires a certain degree of hard-heartedness in those around him.
Unless he has a way to help me reach my sense of perfection, he has nothing for me. At least not now.
So long as you do not say that within his presence, I take no issue with it. However, I would recommend against such bundlers around him. I know I have just stated that there is power and honesty. However, in this case, it may very much be more of a threat to you.
I know when to only speak when spoken to.
When it comes to the matter of the wolf, you would be quite wise to engage in such a mindset. He's an architect of our covenant. You would, and sorry, this was my train of thought. He's very much an architect of our covenant. a being of significant power. And you, Julian, recognize what an architect means. It basically means someone who's mastered. It's basically kind of the highest title a general, like an unsworn order can obtain. It basically means someone has mastered basically two coils or more. Once someone has gone beyond that point, there isn't really a title for someone who's mastered 3 or 4. It's quite unusual for someone to master 2 coils, and from the title that the wolf has, he has mastered at least 2 from what your sire has stated. He may have mastered more. He's almost certainly studying a 3rd.
It is definitely impressive. That's not easy to do.
No. But this is an individual that takes every measure necessary to ensure that they are successful in their endeavours, so it is to be expected. As I said, not precisely a gentleman I believe you would warm up to.
I will show him the due respect that he earned. I am, let's just say, concerned with these recent events. Outside of you, I haven't heard anything else from the light, nor from the mysteries about what we should be doing.
I would speak with Mr. Fletching. He is, I believe he was present in your investigation into Norbury. He may be able to help. I believe Dr. Amara would also be of value to you. And then there is the unique case of Nikolai.
Nikolai, despite a short time here, is learning things expediently. That should be commended.
Well, I shall leave such a matter to you. I believe we're investigating the matter quite fervently so that they'll be able to put your talents to use.
Yes, we discussed that.
The order very much leaves the matter of this nest in your hands.
We will succeed.
Of that I have no doubt. You would not be chosen if we were not sure. If there is a matter of politics of the large domain you wish to discuss with me, you're welcome to. I understand it is not particularly your area of specialty, however it is mine.
If I'm going to get more responsibilities, I need to be more responsible. I will come to you.
Good. I shall be available to answer questions at your earliest convenience. I'm a fairly available woman, all things considered. As much as the matter of your sister and other such unruly assets keep me occupied.
I wish you a most pleasant night and victory to your endeavors. I should leave and continue on mine.
Oh no, I was actually wrong. He's not an architect, he's a mortal. He's an immortal.
Is that above an architect?
Yeah, basically it means he has over 10 ranks in coils.
Oh, what's the? So he has definitely guaranteed mastered two, either made another one or is almost mastering a third. Um, yeah, I guess I shouldn't talk to him impolitely then.
Yeah. As like that is a very, you understand that to be an extremely rare rank. That is held by maybe a few dozen dragons in the world. Um, um, and if he has that title, he probably has many more that you have yet to hear. And you understand that every title to the Ordo, they're almost like ciphers. It's like a language. It's like an auxiliary language they use to communicate with each other. You can use. You could literally call yourself. You could literally call yourself Julian the Subtle, and that would imply that those around you are listening to you. You could call yourself the Invincible, and it would mean enemies are listening in on the conversation. There are many terms and phrases that the Ordo use within their system of titles that they actually use to communicate with each other, as opposed to define each other's rank.
Literally a cant of the covenant.
In many ways, it's not quite a full-on language. Rather, it is a broad number of prefixes and suffixes that allow you to apply an asterisk to a conversation. It is not a language in and of itself, but it's closer to it. They're effectively cipher titles. But yes.
As Julian leaves his sire, he will take notice of Crone and his sire and walk over to him. He'll walk over to them. He will stop before getting into their personal space and, incline his head in a minor bow.
She will bow to you in turn, very respectfully. And she'll say, "Good day, Mr. Goodman. I wish you well in your endeavours. I hope you enjoy the rest of the court. I hear Lady Eilina Zwire will be performing on the final night. Quite the artist of the violin, I hear."
That's good.
A child of one of Primogen, if I recall. It would not surprise me if they're using this as some sort of proving ground for the young lady.
So I hope I'm not interrupting anything. I had a few questions, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course, of course. I did say my earliest convenience, and well, this is about as early as I can possibly be.
I'm curious. You are aware of the possessions, correct?
Of a possession that you and your ad hoc coterie are dealing with? Yes, I'm aware.
We've been told that we need an antithesis to this entity. An antithesis that has been recommended to us is that of starvation.
If what I have been told is correct, it would not be entirely inappropriate. it would at least be a step in the right direction. Whether it is the correct conclusion to come to, I could not say. It is not my area of expertise.
I see. Well, an educated guess. Such a concept is, well, to put simply, a rather morbid thing. That could be represented of many things. It could be that of a dry bone, and from the desert, or a man literally starving to death. So, we would like to keep the casualties to the minimum, but obviously this entity deserves our utmost respect.
Yes. If for nothing else than the threat it provides.
So I ask you this. What would you think would be the least, let's just say, the least morbid way to represent such a thing?
I suppose that depends on what represents the concept you're wishing to. That you're wishing to represent before the entity you are to contain. I've always understood that the weaknesses of such things are tangible in very much the same way ours are. Generally physical, as opposed to conceptual. Rather, there is a concept that is the inversion of whatever is of whatever the entity represents, and that inversion is represented in a tangible way, sometimes specific, sometimes broadly, depending on the entity in question. So I would perhaps find something that represents that entity physically. As you say, maybe dry bones. Malnourished flora.
What about sand from a highly hostile area? Sorry, I don't know any areas are like that in London, or at least in this particular area.
Possible, but difficult to obtain from this location, of course, although eminently doable. There are many charlatans that sell such things online, I hear, though I have never partaken. As you understand, I am not the most. I am not a woman of the modern age. I prefer to keep my records in a far more tangible form.
It's best to do both. Either can be easily tampered with.
But one more so than the other, at least in my opinion. But yes, it is difficult for me to answer this question, as it is not, again, my area of expertise. It is not what I, as a member of the Mysteries, focus on. However, it would be something physical. It would not be, and it would not be. I could tell you what it would not be, I suppose, would be the best advice I could offer. If you wish to take some ascetic or starving man and throw them before the entity you wish to handle, I do not believe that would be particularly effective. It might find the entity in question repulsive, but I doubt it would do any particular damage to it. unless you intend to take this most learned man by the legs and start beating your entity over the head with him. But I believe you would find that,
Cartoonish.
yes, quite childish.
You reminded me of a place that Ordo told me about. There's a new occult shop in town. I should check that place out.
Yes. I believe you should. I hear the one who manages it is quite, well, quite learned indeed in the matters that you are investigating. Perhaps she will have answers for you. If, of course, your compatriots don't find them first. But I'm sure even if she does not, she'll have many answers beyond that which you are seeking to contain. Not seeking to, sorry, seeking to discover.
Thank
And I
you.
think as a contain, I completely lost my train of thought that sentence. My apologies. This is when I try to talk smart, I end up sounding dumb. My bad.
No, that's all right.
So,
Oh, so I'll see if I can get part of my associates to come with me and work on that post haste. And also, since Mr. Irons brought it up, do the Ordo have a distinct modern armory that we could possibly use?
who, sorry?
Mr.
Whose armory?
The Ordos.
That is a matter for the axe. I'm aware of such things. I do not. I do not requisition. It is not my place of any order.
Then he'll turn and look at Kern and say, then I'll ask him. Or, and I can't be forgetting her name, I'll ask the headmaster of the axe.
Perhaps, although I would be cautious for the favors that you incur in the process, such debts will, of course, be repaid, and I would not wish for you to lose your private prize in pursuit of it.
In the end, though I would not mind the glory, the status quo of the city is what's really important.
Well, is that all you would ask for me?
For now.
Then please, if you would kindly sit with me, I believe the Carthians have some sort of performance for us. I hear they call it some sort of interpretive dance.
We will raise an eyebrow to that.
And as you take a seat, and various kindred, as an announcer walks onto stage. Second, let me just find the overlay real quick. A bit harder than I imagined. Much harder than I imagined. Mm. Oh, where's it gone? There we go. This gentleman. Mr. Jean Arc, supposedly the proprietor of the Royal Albert Hall, will announce the performances for the evening, and the music will begin to play. And I think that is where we can end this scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.